Did you know that the first A-bomb test was called Trinity? The Trinity test? These guys love, these like atheist uh, government guys love to use religious language for their stuff, like, the Apollo space missions. Apollo's, one of the gods of ancient Greece. So Oppenheimer brutally misrepresented the Gita when he discussed the first A-bomb test. Now, if you want to know the exact language that he used and what the exact language should have been, you can read it here in some detail. I'm going to give you a simple version of this, but this is what he said. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds, and he's saying that that's what is said in the Gita, and that is completely incorrect. Completely incorrect. So here is, you can watch this yourself if you want. You can go right to this. You can Google this and go right on YouTube and watch. I'm just going to get rid of that so I can really clear and obvious what he said. So this is what Oppenheimer says in this video. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu. Now, if you know for sure, the Gita is Krishna talking to Arjuna, the prince. Now, in this one spot here, the word Vishnu is used, but it's really Krishna, who is an incarnation of Vishnu according to Hindu lore. And this is Arjuna. So Oppenheimer says that Vishnu is trying to persuade. There was no persuasion going on there. There was education. Education is different than persuasion. So Krishna is trying to get Arjuna to realize that he is the true self and therefore should not be afraid. There's no persuading him. And so he did not persuade him and try to impress him, and so took on his multi-armed form and says, now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. See, the multi-armed form would be Shiva, and that is not what took place. I'll show you the exact picture in a second. Then he goes on to say, I suppose we all thought that one way or another, meaning not necessarily from the perspective of the Gita, but what we're told here, destroyer of worlds was the atomic bomb, and that's nothing to do with chapter 11 in the Gita, as you will soon see. So this is an image from the Gita. This is after Krishna educated Arjuna, because Arjuna was terrified. You can see Arjuna's leading the battle here, right? Or he's certainly in front of others. And he is like the head warrior for the Pandava family versus the Kaurava family, which was totally evil. And that's the battle here. But the Kaurava family are his cousins who've destroyed the world and must be taken out. And so Krishna explains to him that he must do his duty. So this is after Arjuna accepts his dharma, his duty, and goes on to fight the battle, as Krishna being the charioteer. So this was after Krishna here showed Arjuna his true self, his vastness of the Godhead, as the story goes. So Krishna did not do this to impress him and persuade him. Arjuna simply asked, show me, Krishna, your true self. And that's all it was. And you can see it was not multi-armed at all. At all. Multi-armed would be, and I'll show you shortly what what Shiva looks like. So you can see Oppenheimer got this completely incorrect, and he is, considered to be a genius. The whole atomic bomb thing, but the dude couldn't get a single verse in the friggin' Gita right. It's amazing how Westerners screw up religions from other cultures. Like, for example, the Bible is from the Middle East culture that Westerners do not understand. And the same thing for the Gita, which is from the Eastern, Indian culture. Okay, so what did Krishna actually say? Well, Krishna was an incarnation of God known as Vishnu. And what he said was, I am mighty, world-destroying time. I'm not the destroyer of worlds. I'm not death. He said, I am mighty, world-destroying time. Now, is it not true that you are going to die sooner or later? That's all that means. Nothing else. Look what Oppenheimer did. He turned a simple thing about time, right? What was that from Joe Black? What, Time and Death, or Death and Taxes? Right? Death comes to all of us. I am the mighty world destroying time. I'm 65, maybe 15, 20 years left or less, who knows? Time will destroy me. That's all this is saying. Nothing about dropping bombs like this moron thinks. So let's look at this from the perspective of what the Gita actually is about. We've got to go to a near-death experiencer to help us to understand it. So this is a really interesting dude here. He was a fireman, and he died temporarily. And it's really kind of funny. People say near death, not actually death. No, you're actually dead. No brain activity, no heart for a short period of time that these people actually have. That's what they're called, near death. They didn't die. They nearly died because they were dead temporarily. So that the true self was out of the dead false self, and there was no mind. Now listen to what this means. The Vedantic philosophy, which predated Hinduism, refers to the body as a mind-body complex. I call it the false self. The false self is dead. No mind activity. He kept thinking. Now, how did he think without a mind? Because he was pure consciousness and awareness. We use our false self to think when we're in our true selves. There's a relationship. But when we're out, we're free of all the human emotions. Now, listen to what he says. I kept thinking, how in the world did I forget who I really was, the true self? And how is it possible that I believed I was this limited human creature rather than my true self? I felt like I'd been released from a hot, dark, stuffy closet. I love this language from the television show, The Good Place. We're in temporary mobile turd factories. Now I just use this. Now what does this mean here? MD, FB, PD. Let's do. So MD, so material, physical distractions. False beliefs is what we must overcome and pull ourselves back as the true self. So once you're out of the body, how did I believe I was these physical distractions, false beliefs, and mental distractions is what this guy said when I am the true self. So this is what happens when an NDEer goes back into the dead body. It is resurrected. This language is very bothersome to Christians because of the whole Jesus thing, but that's what this is. That's what this happens. Dead, resurrected. Just how it goes. And scientists are learning this more and more based upon all these detailed near-death experiences that this is a true scenario. So this is a great little paper to look at. And this guy's done a lot of work. You can see he's a professor of neurology at the University of Kentucky. And what's he been focusing on? Near-death experiences. So this is mainstream. It's just not well-known mainstream because of the religious and, of course, political implications because of all the false beliefs that, all the fools maintain. So this is an example of a near-death experience and what can happen that in the laboratory, neurophysiologists can bring one in and out of the body based upon temporal lobe or temporal parietal cortex activation. I'd never heard of this until I read this paper. This is what happens, just like in the movie Ghost, right? Patrick Swayze character gets shot and out comes the true self. Oh my God, that's the false self. Now, of course, I use this image here, right, just because I can't really draw the silhouette of the body. But I do this image because what we as the true self or pure pan, like Peter Pan imagination, we are not supposed to become attached to false beliefs, material distractions, and psychological or mental distractions and physical distractions. We're supposed to walk on by without getting attached, according to the Gita, which is what I'm showing you right now. Because remember, Oppenheimer got the Gita wrong. I'm showing you the Gita right now. So this is how you need to understand the Gita. We can use Shiva, actually. So this is a silhouette of a human being. So this could be me or you. Male or female, makes no difference. We could either be male or female. It's totally irrelevant. The true self doesn't give a shit if it's male or female. All it cares about is being the true self. Now we know this once we're out of the body, or if we're in the body and we do intense yoga or have a near-death experience. So, for perspective, look at Shiva. Look at the black silhouette of the body. Look what I did. I put a black silhouette around Shiva. So this is the body now. This is the body, and this is the true self. And you can see the mind is in control of the true self. The purpose of yoga, the purpose of Gita, is for us to realize that we are the true selves, not the false selves, and stop all the inappropriate behaviors and beliefs and avoid all the temptations, false beliefs, material and mental and physical distractions, and travel through life. And I'll show you what, this is the Gita story. This is the Upanishad. This is the Vedanta story. So the idea is to live our lives as if we are Shiva, the true self, controlling the mind-body complex so that the mind-body complex does not take us down roads that we should not go down. Like, for example, being best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, like Donald Trump and Bill Clinton were. Isn't that incredible? back in 2016. Who are you going to vote for? Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, right? Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, or the wife of Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so this is how it works. The false self down here, well, the whole thing is the mind-body complex is the false self, but the body doesn't think, the mind does, or that's how we think. This is apasmara, the mind, the demon of the mind, the one that's attracted. This is the desire nature, the limbic system, so to speak. So, all of us, at some point during our lives, become the mind controlling the body, dominating the false self. The purpose of the Gita, the purpose of yoga, and Aurobindo says, the dreaded law of the way cannot be abrogated, is for us to stop believing that we are the false self and become the true self and take over operation of the mind-body complex as the true self. That is what the Gita is about. It has nothing to do with war or death. It has to do with realizing that we are the true self and not the false self. That's what the Gita is about. How did Oppenheimer not know that? It kind of is amazing to me. So here's an example of what the Gita, in terms of long view, is about. So, and we're just going, listen, I'm just telling you what the story. You can believe it. You can look at it, believe it, think about it, accept it, not accept it, whatever you want to do. It doesn't make any difference. So, in Vedanta, the vast, everything that we see everywhere is Brahman. Like the ocean. Imagine we're in the middle of the ocean. All we see is water everywhere. And we see waves. We, Atman, are the waves on the ocean of Brahman. And we wave into bodies. We live a life as Joe, and then we die, the dead Christian. And do we work through our samskaras, our karmic issues, and purify ourselves? Yes, we did this time. Back into the next body, because the goal is to be this dude here, this realized, and then we merge. That's the story. Believe it or not, listen, I'm not trying to get you to believe, I'm telling you the story. So Oppenheimer completely missed the point of the Gita, obviously. So we come back into a body. We wave back in from the big ocean. We wave back into a body. We live a life. Do we deal with our samskaras? Yes. We get another ring. Back into the body, and you see the cycle. And then finally, free. This is called moksha. It's called moksha, being freed from ever having to live in a body again. Is that true? I don't know, but that's the story. And clearly, from what I just told you, can you see what Oppenheimer said is completely ridiculous? I become death, the destroyer of worlds. What bullshit. You can see, you should read the Gita yourself, or listen to some of the great swamis at the current Vedanta societies, like Swami Sarvapriyananda at the Vedanta Society of New York, to get the monk Hindu Vedantin view versus my sort of Western view of this. But this is, what I just told you is consistent with the Upanishads and the Gita. And you can see Oppenheimer delivered an inaccurate message regarding the nature of the Gita and Vishnu / Krishna and then Shiva.